Yo, this will not be part 3. This is going to be a video on wiring up a relay. And these are about all the things you're going to need to do it. Lighter, or a heat gun. Set those out just to let you know. Flashlight, because you're going to be under the car and dash. Some relays, some switches. Don't worry about that thing. Of course, there's some shrink wrap in there. And then various sizes of zip ties. And grommets. And electrical tape. It's a passenger side. It's a plane. It's just a grommet. I can't remember what size it is. I had to file the hole out a bit. Take a grinder and smooth it out. But so it's gonna go. It's probably about 6 inches away from the flex pipe. I'm gonna run it up there through the above the sway bar there. And moving on up to the battery. See that a little bit of split loom. Walk around. Just got the excess just kind of hanging out here. I'll trim that later. Just wanted to show you guys real quick an example of why I'm doing the relay. This is how I have to turn my cooling fan on. And for reference later on, remember this is supply from the battery. This is going to the fan, to device, whatever you want to call it. But this is essentially what we have to replace. And yes, I've bought new relays and pulled them out of junkyards, and the ones out of the junkyards will last a couple days, and the brand new ones will last about a week or two. And I can't find the short. I can't find nothing on the meter. So I said, screw it. Just bought some cheapos off Amazon. And we'll put them in a spot where, it's out in the open, easy to swap out. Maybe it won't blow anymore. The fan still does its own high-low switch on its own. I'm guessing it's a different relay to control that. But without this being plugged up, my AC won't run, and the cooling fan won't run at all. And the cooling fan, with this hooked up, it actually will still switch on and off when it needs to. It's weird. I don't know, but that's why I'm putting the relay in. Just remember, that's your reference for later. Coming from the battery, going to the device. So I forgot these Amazon relays came with a little, diagram. So let's just ignore the switch for the moment. I'll deal with the switch later. You don't worry about the switch. Got a power coming from the battery. And then it goes over to our accessory. So I was saying, from the battery to the device. That's those two lines that we looked at on the block under the hood. Of course, like I said, the switch, don't worry about that. You see the switch takes a positive signal and just powers the relay. That's all it does, is just tell the relay to cut on or off. And the ground, of course, is ground. Just, wherever, don't matter. Alright, let's check out this. See, I've grounded the relay to itself. We got coming from our battery, going to our device. I'm going to talk about this earlier. This red, which is 87A. Come on, focus for me. Normally closed contact, we want normally open. An open circuit means normally off. So normally off, normally closed. So 87A, the red wire in the center. This one right here, we just need to ignore it because we don't want the fan on all the time. We want the switch to tell the relay to turn on, not to be on all the time, and the switch tell it to turn off. Alright, I wanted to show you guys this real quick. You see how it says, come on, focus in, earth load supply, and earth is the closest to the LED. And if you look up the eFun car 12 volt 30 amp, you can just type in 12 volt 30 amp switch, and it'll be the first one that came up. It's like $10 for an 8-pack of these. And it's like the second review. I'll try and post up a screenshot of it. But this is, from what he says, this is technically the correct wiring pattern, which is ground closest to the LED. And the review's a little old, so maybe they fixed it by then. But he said if you don't, you'll pop a switch. Alright, quick overview before we test. wiring diagram. Remember, we don't need red. We got it coming from our battery to our device. We have our signal wires back here. You can't see it, but it's spliced to the white wire right here, which of course is our signal wire. It's plugged into the rear wiper switch. This is the 4-door, so no rear wiper. Still hot. It also should make it to where I have to have the key on. But that doesn't make it to where I have to have the key on. See that right there? That's the ground from the cigarette lighter, which I don't have anymore. It didn't work anyway, and it was the thing was rusty. All the contacts were bad in it. And it still puts out power. I've tested that already. You can see my temporary switch position. And also, you can't pass all 3 wires through the little screw on the back of it. So I pulled the ground off and then screwed it on and then put the ground back on it. I don't know if I can see this, the ground sticking up. And the other 2 are actually going through the back of the switch. And then there's 2 wires for my starter button and then a signal wire from the switch. It's running to the relay. I'll bring it back whenever we're testing. Moment of truth. Well, after some strenuous testing, I can say that my relay wiring is good. What's wrong is I believe I've lost an AC relay. Since if you jump it off here, you gotta have the AC on for the fan to work. Or you gotta at least have that bit of it working. That's what it seems like. I'm hoping one of those 2 are the AC relays. That or the 2 under the floorboard. I don't know. If anyone's got any ideas, let me know down below. Here we are a few days later. Hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. Found out a couple things while searching. One, I might need to replace my coolant temperature sensor, which I have a spare. Here's a few other tools I used in doing all this. Those are some of them junk relays I was telling you about, just to test some stuff. Found out all my wiring is indeed correct, minus Escort specific stuff. Like, this is from the battery, that's to the device. I had this backwards. And down here, I can't remember which of these I had it plugged into, but whichever one I did, I was wrong. But I wasn't getting 12 volts over at the switch. I don't know if you can see that, but I plugged it up into the cigarette lighter, because I don't have one anymore. You see the switch is just hanging. I'll tie that up later. And the switch is on. Should. And the fan is working. So now my issue is that my AC isn't working. Well, it's not clicking on. I think it's just this relay over here. Did a few tests. Can't really. This guy right here. But, something that relay's bad. I did get the fan to kick on otherwise. And once I replaced that coolant temperature sensor, which you can see right down there, there's 2. There's one, I think it's slightly further back. You can't really see it. You can kind of see it. It looks like a oil pressure sensor. That's the one that goes to the gauge. This is the one that talks to the PCM. And since I got it, I'll just pop it out, put a socket on it, see what size it is, and I'll replace that off camera. Some shitty sealing on it. Yeah, that's all. My relay wiring was correct. It was Escort specific stuff that I was off on. There's corrosion on the mass here. Awesome. I can't think of anything else. I think that's good. Make sure you like and subscribe. And the next video hopefully will be an actual upgrade, not just me wiring shit.